I wandered out on the sea, searching for something that really found me. I didn't know it, but it drew me to it. Soon I was full of its passion in me. I'm Italo Labignan. 40 years I've fished the world and have learned it's not just about catching the fish, the size of the fish, or the numbers. It's about appreciating every sunrise and sunset, the smell of the sea, savoring the culture and the fish with friends. Here's the catch. It's the total experience. Presented by Bear Reels, versatile, precision, handcrafted hybrid center pins. Hooked on MFS, quality fishing tackle. Seabreeze boats, tame the oceans, and Farlow's Caribbean cuisine with a southern twist. Sometimes you have to catch a little fish to catch a bigger fish. This has never been truer than when I target Offshore Barracuda and Kingfish. My start to this trip is dedicated to cruising slowly and using my Raymarine fish finder to locate suspended baitfish near shore. These baitfish are only 4 to 6 inches long, and it really helps use a high-resolution fish finder. Once I locate a school of baitfish, I have to position the boat so that the tide and wind will drift me over my little friends. As soon as the boat is neutralized, out comes the sabiki rig, and I work it through the water column. These baitfish can feed at any depth, so I try going to the bottom first and work my way all the way up to the surface. Today I have a good mix of pinfish, greenbacks, and my favorite offshore fish, the cigar minnow. If you want to get a hook in your hands fast, just fish a sabiki rig with multiple small hooks and 3 to 4 fish dangling off the line. Don't pay complete attention, and in a matter of no time, you'll either have a hook in the arm or in the hand. So I've heard. Bait cloud is working good. You know, it's just amazing to be out here in the Gulf of Mexico. It can be so rough. Just about 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, we had 5 to 8 foot waves, and then it calmed right down. I haven't seen what this fish is, but it's fighting really well. But I find fighting him on a center pin reel like this is a lot of fun. Whether it's a salmon off the west coast of North America or bottom fishing for those halibut and lingcod. Look, this is a nice cuda. It's right on top. Beautiful silver fish. See if I can keep it away from the boat. I've got a very light wire leader, and it looks like it's got both hooks in its mouth. So I'm gonna wait till it's completely fought out. If you're planning on grabbing a barracuda by the tail like I am, you better make sure that it's pretty settled down, that it doesn't have a ton of energy. So this guy's still got a little bit of spunk, as you can see. This is where you just gotta be cool. You know, if you're by yourself, if you have somebody helping you, that's great. So I'm not in a rush. We're just enjoying this nice weather. Okay, now what? Got a rod in the way. This is really interesting here. You know, I still have a line out there in case a fish grabs it. This isn't a monster, but you know what? It's a decent barracuda. Okay, Willie, let me grab him. Oh, good, cuda. Okay, look. Nice cuda, not hooked too bad, but you know what? As a safety, I'm gonna put him on the floor. Oh boy, look at those teeth. That's where you need at least 6-inch pliers, if not more. Come on, I'm gonna release you. Work with me now. Can't get his mouth open. There we go. Okay, he's not hooked too bad. Extraction complete. You could call this a reef barracuda. So we're just fishing over a man-made reef. Look how pretty he is. Okay, there. You know what? Look, beautiful silver bullet. He's gonna be ready to go. I'm just gonna take my hands away. Look it, there he goes. You know, I love to be out on salt water. This happens to be my birthday, so we're gonna call that a birthday barracuda. It's so gorgeous out here. Even if you don't get fish, it's so wonderful. We've got birds circling the boat because they saw the fish was being caught. This is the main part of the experience. Sure, catching the fish was fun, but just having the fight and the satisfaction that it's gonna live on and somebody else has a chance to catch it, I think that really makes it. You know, when you're out here in the Gulf of Mexico, The weather can change quickly. We're limited now to going out about maybe 5 miles because we've got like 2 to 3 foot waves, and it's making it a little bit difficult just to fish properly. So we're just drifting with live bait. I'm not sure what I've got on here. It's not fighting very hard. Oh, he's maybe a little bit bigger than I thought. Just a small mackerel. Can you hear the drag? I love that sound when that fish starts to feel like that. Man, that's what mackerel are known for, especially king mackerel. Smokers. They taste great smoked, but boy, when they run line out, especially when you're using a center pin like this, you want to make sure your hands are clear of the handle, or it turns into a knuckle buster. I got a feeling when this fish gets close to the surface, it's probably going to run again. And man, my line is all frayed here. Hopefully it'll be okay. Yeah, let's see here. I haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, time to walk him to the back to try to land him. This is where a railing's kind of nice to hold on to. This is going to be interesting. Let's not go in the water. I'm going to try grabbing him by the tail. This is a nice high boat. Come on. He's still not done. This is where I usually touch them once, then they usually take off. This isn't a monster, but it's a nice eating size fish. Come on. Oh, man. A lot of people gaff them, but I like to just grab them by the tail. Let him calm down a little bit. There. Look. Just gonna put this rod in the rod holder in 1 sec. Actually, I'm gonna leave it there for a second. Look at it. Oh, there's a nice king mackerel. You can see they got lots of power. And I don't know if you can see the teeth. They've got razor sharp teeth, so we've got to use a little bit of a very light wire leader. And he's not hooked too bad. Actually, he's got the front hook in his mouth. But look at how brilliant they are. They call them kingfish or king mackerel. And I'll tell you what, they're one of the best eating fish, as far as I'm concerned, that you can get here in the Gulf of Mexico. They have so much meat compared to their body size. They have a very small body cavity, so it's mostly meat. And this guy's perfect eating. So I'm gonna get the hooks out and get him in the cooler. I know what I'm gonna have for dinner. So you can see I've got the ice all laid out there. What I'm gonna do is actually push the fish in it and cover it up with some of the ice, so it's nice and cold. Perfect. There we go. Nice catch. I got a feeling that when this fish comes up close to the surface, it'll take off again. I think this guy's fought out. He took a lot of line out. This is awesome. You know, I really appreciate being in this Pro Sports 2000. It's an awesome boat. We are running beside about a 25-foot boat this morning, and I had to ease back on the throttle just so that we can kind of run side by side. It's a great boat to fish out here in the Gulf of Mexico or anywhere in salt water, and also to fish on the really shallow flats. It has a nice shallow draft, which is perfect when you chase those redfish and snook. I haven't seen this fish yet. See here? Oh yeah, it's another nice king, eating size. A little closer, a little closer. Okay, man, do they thrash. What a beautiful fish. Come on. Normally I use a glove, but I decided not to on this one. Be very careful. They've got so many spines. Look at it. Isn't that a beautiful king? I'm telling you what, these fish fight hard, they hit hard, they're great eating. Now there is a size limit on these fish, it's 24 inches, so I've got a tape measure on my cooler, and I'm gonna see here how long this guy is. I know he's well over 24 inches. So he is 28. So look, isn't that a brilliant fish? Does he look brilliant this way? Does he look brilliant this way with that sun shining on it? I'll tell you what, they're amazing eating. This is awesome. And they're plentiful, that's a nice thing. Covered up in ice. I'm sure you can hear it. Very important to keep those fish nice and cold. Now, you know, while he settles down, I'm gonna show you the rig that I've been using. Hold on a second. Because there's two ways that we fish for these guys. So this is the 4-ounce weight that we're using. just to keep the bait fish down. There's a pretty good size swivel right there. And then what we've got attached to it, this is a 100-pound fluorocarbon leader. So you can see that it's pretty heavy. At the end of the fluorocarbon, we have a very light wire. This is 18-pound wire, stainless steel wire. It's only, the whole thing is only about 12 inches long. And we have a small single hook, and we have a small treble hook. So when the fish hits, we have enough drag on the reels, even with the bare reels, like this one here, that the fish can pull out line, but stiff enough that it also is going to get hooked. So you can see how much drag there is there. So it's very important that when you're drifting or trolling for these guys, unless you use really heavy gear, like I'm talking like, 80-pound tests, international outfits, that drag is set so that when the fish hits, it can take line, but also that it'll get the hook embedded in its mouth. And because we're using small hooks, you don't need a lot of pressure to get those hooks in. You need to take a breather. Maybe a bottle of water or an apple or something. That was awesome. Man, good fish. We were just talking about stuff. All of a sudden, one of the rods started screaming. And we got a good-sized fish on here. Haven't seen it yet. It almost spooled the center pin. So we had to go in reverse to catch up on the line. So we're picking up. This is the second chapter. You missed the first chapter because it was a little bit hectic. At least the wind's starting to die down, which is good. So I can stand up here on the platform, see what it is here. We almost got up so we can look at it. Oh, it's silver, look it. It's a nice bonito. See if I can just grab it by the tail. Come on over. What a fighter. This guy took out so much line. Come on, a little closer. There, okay. Normally I land the fish at the back, but look at how brilliant this fish is. It's a nice bonito. They're common here, but man, they can take off and they fight so hard. This one, I think, because, look, it had one hook in the mouth and one tagged on the side. I think it's put up a lot of resistance. Man, this guy is pinned there. Come on. It's right in the hard part of the jaw. There, got him. This little guy fought so hard that he doesn't have a lot of energy left. And while most people release them, there's a recipe that I have. What I do is I cut the fish up and I actually let the fish pieces marinate in white vinegar, and that really takes the dark color out, and then you can cook it any way you want. So this guy's gonna go in the cooler. Look at how brilliantly that shine is. Man, all right. That King's got a nice little bonita to keep it company. Chilling on ice. Look it. Not bad. Got a couple of fish there where nobody's gonna go hungry tonight.
When the drift and the drift fishing with live bait slows down, I'll often put on an MFS jigging lure and just work the bottom for a variety of deeper water fish while I'm waiting for the surface action to happen. My buddy, Scott Martin, up in Newfoundland, Canada, hand pours these amazing jigging lures that come in sizes from 3/4 ounce to over 6 ounces. They are solid, heavy, and simple to use. Here's the directions. Just drop to the bottom, jig aggressively, lift your rod up, let the lure fall. When you feel up, wham, set the hook, and reel the fish in.
These are probably one of the easiest fish to catch. They're very plentiful, on some of the reefs. Right now we're just drifting open water. Nibble on this one. Is it still on? Yep. Okay. Yay! Bet you we got another king down below. I think we're gonna have to walk it to the front. This is where I get to do a 360. This isn't the longest rod that I've got. Come on. Man, this is amazing, getting these fish. Look at how beautiful they are. Look at how bright and silver. They are gorgeous fish. Now that the water's calmed down a little bit, look at, isn't that a gorgeous king? The nice thing is that these fish are plentiful. So you can come out here pretty well in the Gulf of Mexico all year long, whether it's spring, fall, even in July. I've had really good fishing for them, but some of the biggest ones are either in November for some reason or in the spring, like April. We'll get them up to 40, 50, 60 pounds. And I'll tell you what, they put on a great fight. This is a setup that I had for amberjack, and
our cameraman suggested that I put a wire leader on it because we were having our baits cut in half, and I did, and I think it paid off. So I'm going to show you in a second here because it's got a big oversized hook. So look at the hook that we're using here. This hook right here. Let me just get this untangled. You can see that big hook. That's all I had on earlier. That's about an 8/0 hook. Then he said, you know what? We had a couple of heads left on there from fish hitting. He said, put a wire on there. So I just put a wire from that hook and about 4 inches back in a small treble hook. I'm going to see here. Let me put this guy down for a second while I get my pliers out. It's going to flop a little bit. And I'm going to try getting that hook out. You just have to handle these fish so carefully because if they flop, you better be ready to let them go. See how lightly he was hooked with that treble hook? So if that would have been the fluorocarbon, if this would have been the single hook that's up there, man, they got teeth. Because he came across it, it would have been gonzo. Game over. That braid is caught around his maxillary, so this is interesting. Not braid, I mean the wire. So let me just, with the pliers, I'm so tempted to use my hands, but I'm not gonna go in there. So I wanna go slow, because I like to save this leader. Look, it was all wrapped up. There we go, let those hang. Look, isn't that a brilliant fish? Beautiful. So his home right now is gonna be in a new place, a little cooler, right with the other fish on ice. Closed captioning brought to you by Leguano, natural barefoot technology for every adventure. Today, I get to enjoy two special treats. Even though I kept some nice kingfish and a bonito to enjoy, I'm going to be enjoying a fresh yellowtail snapper dinner at Farlow's. John Massa, the chef, is handpicking a couple of fresh yellowtail snappers for us to enjoy. I get very picky, and since I fish so much and catch so many fish, when I eat out, I expect the freshest fish, and Farlow's delivers. John carefully fillets each snapper, trims any thinner flesh along the edges of the fish pieces to ensure even cooking. Each snapper fillet is cooked at a low heat to ensure it will retain as much flavor as possible. The cooked fish is kept warm in the oven while John prepares the condiments. So this is a real treat. Not only am I eating at Farlow's, I'm with the Farlow's. So I've got Lori and Keith, who are the owners, and they've done a great job with this restaurant. They've been great hosts to have us here to show you how the fish are prepared and the recipes and how we enjoy them. I'm just curious, Lori, how did you get together? Did you meet at like a restaurant school?
Yeah, it would seem that way, wouldn't it? Actually not. We met in Kentucky, believe it or not. He's from the Virgin Islands. He came to Kentucky for college, and we met at the apartments that we lived in after college. So go figure. That was 25 years ago.
Did she have to chase you?
No, I was chasing her. Yeah, it's hard to get these Kentucky girls out of Kentucky and get them to Florida, but we always wanted to get into the restaurant business, and I was in the food business at that time, and we decided to come down and visit my parents one weekend. And I'll let her finish the story because it was quite classic what happened after that.
I was coming down here for vacation, Memorial Day weekend, and we ended up looking at this restaurant. So we look at it, we make the decision, we go home, we sell our house in 8 days.
Wow.
We moved here, we flew back and forth all summer, leaving our jobs and all of that, and opened this. We moved here on then Labor Day weekend and opened it up a month later.
Now, was it already a classy fish restaurant or not? Was it like a normal, or was it a grill? What was it?
It was called a grill. It was. Now it looked totally different than this because we remodeled the whole place 3 years ago. So we added 100 seats at that time. So it was small, had a big bar inside, plastic tables, plastic chairs. It's a lot different than what it is now.
When we looked at it, my dad had been living down here, my mom and dad had been living down here for about 10 years. And when we first walked onto the property, it reminded me of St. Croix, Virgin Islands, where I grew up immediately. The mangroves were surrounded by mangroves. We're surrounded by almost 280 degrees of water on Angel Creek. And we knew we could work with it. We knew we could turn it into a Caribbean restaurant with a Southern twist. So we really wanted to intertwine where we met in Kentucky. Kentucky food is absolutely beautiful. heavy cuisine, just love it. So we thought it'd be a great concept to do a Caribbean cuisine with a nice southern twist.
I think you did it right. I can't see an empty chair. I drive by with my boat, parking lot's full all the time, so you gotta be happy, you gotta be pleased. You're making a lot of people happy. So tell me a little bit about the appetizers that we're gonna have.
The tuna nachos are one of my favorites. We make the chips ourselves with the seared tuna on it, make it on a kiwi salsa, and then we call this our fish sauce. It's like a remoulade with fresh mangoes in it. And so the tuna nachos are a favorite. That can be a meal in and of itself, to be honest with you. My mom eats that for dinner a lot. Really, the beef pate he should talk about. That's from his homeland of St. Croix.
Well, this is one of the nice little items that I brought from the island of St. Croix. It's called the beef pate. It is a light dough that is deep fried, and in the center it has ground beef with a little bit of tomato paste and some spices. Some people compare it to an empanada. I'd like to say it's a little bit lighter.
Wow. The tuna looks like it's done perfectly.
I haven't eaten these in a while.
Now, Keith, can you tell me how this has been prepared?
What Chef John Mazza has done is he's taken the snapper, he puts a little butter in the pan, heats it up, does a little saute, he adds a little onions, a little tomatoes, a little capers, throws in a little white wine. We do everything flambe style here, and sets on a fire there, puts it all together, and then puts it right onto the plate.
Wow, it looks awesome. Okay, the real test.
Okay, that's right.
It's perfect. Great job.
So much. It's been our pleasure having you. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. One day I wandered out on the sea, searching for something that really found me. I didn't know it, but it drew me to it. Soon I was full of its passion in me. I'm Italo Labignan. 40 years I've fished the world and have learned it's not just about catching the fish, the size of the fish, or the numbers. It's about appreciating every sunrise and sunset, the smell of the sea, savoring the culture and the fish with friends. Here's the catch. It's the total experience. Presented by Bear Reels, versatile, precision, handcrafted hybrid center pins. Hooked on MFS, quality fishing tackle. Seabreeze boats, tame the oceans, and Farlow's Caribbean cuisine with a southern twist.